Good morning. Good morning, friends. How are you? Good morning. Good morning, Facebook. It's good to be here with you this morning. Excited to talk about the path to the rebrand, about continuing our conversation about branding and what that means to small businesses, for small businesses. I know it's always tricky when you get into business and all of a sudden you realize that there's a lot of things that you are in charge of, that you are responsible for, that you don't know anything about. And branding is often one of those things. And branding is super important to a business. So I'm excited to be coming to you live today and every Thursday at 9 a.m. to talk with you a little bit about that. If you're not familiar with who I am, my name is Tiffany Huckelman. I'm the founder of Lone Orange, and we help small business owners confidently clarify their identity and their value so that they can powerfully attract the right clients, the clients who they love to work with and who love to work with them. I'm going to my personal page real quick while some folks join us. How are you? Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining us here. Let's see. This is always the fun part of Facebook, having to do this manually on the phone. Well, we're live, so apologize for that. Thank you for bearing with me. But good morning. If you're watching this live, make sure you wave or say something in the chat so that I can, excuse me, so that I can say hi and recognize that you're here. And if you're watching this on replay, please make sure that you type replay or type something in the comments so that I can come back and say hi. Before we jump in, I want to ask you a question. When you think about branding, what do you think of? When I say the word, pardon me, nose itching, throat scratchy, this is not a great way to start a live video, but here we are, the reality of live TV, right? So when I say the word branding, what do you think of? What comes to mind immediately? Just the very top things. And if you're watching live, please put your comments in the put your thoughts in the comments so I can read them and we can talk about them. If you're watching us on replay, don't be afraid to go ahead and put in there what it is that comes to mind for you so that, again, we can continue the conversation. So what is it that comes to mind when you think about branding? What's the very first thing that you think of? A lot of people would say, I think, logo. That's kind of the natural thing that you would assume when you think branding. What else do you think of? Do you think of your business card? Do you think of your website? Do you think of your social media? What do you think about when you think about branding? Do you think about Coca-Cola? Do you think about something that's too big for a small business to worry about? Do you think, ugh, branding, something I've got to do, but I don't want to do because I don't know how to do it? Do you get excited because you're like, oh, yes, I get to have a new look and this is going to be fun, it's a creative project. What comes to mind when you think of branding? All of those things are very possible. Branding can mean so much to so many different people. Branding is really a big, huge umbrella, and it encompasses a lot. And depending on who you are and where you are in your business, it could mean something different now than it could mean 5 or 10 years down the road, right? So that's why it's such a big umbrella. But we're going to talk a little bit about it today in the context of a small business. Let's think specifically about a small business who wants to rebrand. Now, that doesn't exclude people who are just starting out in branding to begin with, but I want to talk specifically about people who have had some success already in business, maybe kind of cobbled together a quick brand, or maybe didn't do any kind of branding as far as logo design and website and that kind of thing. No matter where you're at with that, you've had some success and you know that it's time to kick it up a notch. And so that's what I want to talk about today. What does that path look like? Like what do you expect when you make that decision to actually do the rebrand? Good morning, anybody that's joining us live. Hello and welcome. Please drop your hello say hello in the comments so I can say hi back. And again, if you're watching this on replay, make sure that you type replay so I can come back and say hi. All right, so yeah, just take a second and think about what does branding mean to you and what do you think of? So when I started my rebranding process, shoot, almost probably 10, 11 months ago, which seems really crazy, but it's taken that long to get to this point, and I'm about to tell you why. um, when people start that rebranding process, you might assume that you're going to jump right into logo design, that you're going to jump right into a business card, that the easy thing, the tangible thing to think about is the visual and the marketing pieces and the print material or the digital collateral that you have. But really, the visual elements actually communicate a lot about your business. And so whatever you put out there is communicating something. Your job as the business owner is to control what that's communicating, to define what that's communicating. Because if you're communicating something different than what you want your company to represent, then people are getting a very mixed message. So, which can get very confusing and can actually undermine your brand and your success. So you get to have the responsibility, but you get to actually be able to create just define what your visual and what your branding communicates. So in order to be able to do that, though, you've got to know what that is, right? What is it that you want to communicate? First, you've got to get clear on several things for you and your business. First of all, what's your purpose? Why are you doing what you're doing? What drives you and your business forward every day? What's the purpose behind what you're doing? No matter what kind of work you're in. I mean, it could be anything. It could be a service-based business. You could be selling widgets, but there's got to be some purpose, some why to what you're doing. You probably heard Simon Sinek, Find Your Why, or Start With Why. The second book was Find Your Why. And I think that's powerful because it helps drive what you do every day. It helps you make decisions because you can compare the options to what your purpose and what your why is. But it also helps you attract people that are similar or be important when you want to attract the right kind of clients. So understanding that purpose to begin with is going to be super important. And it's going to take time. We've all gotten into business. We've all kind of, maybe we stumbled into it, but we've all gotten into business for a reason. But underlying, deep down, there is a why. Maybe you know it, maybe you think you know it, but maybe there's even a deeper why several levels down. And the tricky thing is that sometimes those whys can be very personal to us, but they can also, a business also can and should have a why. So if you're a solopreneur looking to grow your business and grow your team, you're setting that culture right now based on your why, and you're going to be able to use that to attract team members who have a similar why or can at least align with your why so that you can also attract clients who have that same why. So getting clear on your purpose and your why is going to be super important. Another thing to get very clear on is your core values, your company's core values. What are those things that you stand for? No matter what kind of work you did, no matter what kind of service or product you sell, what are those core values that's going to drive how you behave? Understanding that and getting really clear on that is going to be important too. Those two things can be a huge part of your differentiator. So setting yourself apart from other people in your market space, those two things are going to be super important. So getting super clear and spending the time that's necessary to understand those and to get clear and to get focused on those, it's going to be super important to understand what your brand is. Also understanding your brand personality. Just like people, we all have a personality, and we click with a personality or we don't click with a personality, or we kind of are neutral with a personality. Businesses have personalities too, and you, again, get to create that. So what is your personality? How do you want people to experience your business personality? So no matter who they're interacting with, whether it's you, whether it's your website, whether it's your business card or your brochure, whether it's a receptionist, whether it's a team member, no matter who it is, what's that personality that you want them to get from that experience? And then, of course, what's your difference? And truly, if you look at your purpose and your core values and your personality, you're going to get a big understanding of what that difference is. You might also be able to kind of throw in some features and benefits, but really those core things are get to your essence. Get to what really, really makes you and your company unique and is what's going to help you really stand out in the marketplace. Hello to everybody joining us live. Want to just say hi. Hi, Jessica. I see you there. How are you? Welcome. So in order to be able to communicate through your brand, so we talked a minute ago about how your visual is communication about your brand and about your company. And in order to know what you want that your identity to look like, you've got to know what you're communicating. So getting clear on the purpose, the core values, your personality, and your difference is your essence. It's like your business fingerprint, unique to you and you alone. And once you get clear on that, that's going to help propel everything else. And that's going to be what truly makes a difference in your business. Will make a huge difference in your business. All right, so now once you know brand is, and you can talk about it, you can share it, you can attract people of who align with that. Now you get to then you need to start thinking about who your ideal client is. Now, ideal client is a big topic, just like the other ones are, but ideal client is really a big topic, and we'll dive into that in a future Facebook Live. In fact, we'll probably dive into all these things at some point in a future Facebook Live because they are so complex and there's so much to be thinking about. So, but your ideal client can sometimes get people caught up. And who do I need to think about? Well, do I have to only market to 20 to 30-year-olds? Do I have to only market to people in a certain demographic area? The thing with ideal client is that there's demographics and there's psychographics. The demographics are important to some level and give you a lot of good information, especially when you're marketing. But the most important things are going to be your psychographics. And what you're really going to want to think about is who are those people who you best help. So because you've already had some success, who are those people that you have best served, that have experienced the biggest transformation with you, who love working with you, who you love working with, who aren't the clients that suck you dry. We've all had those clients who we just don't quite click with, and they suck you dry, energy, money, time, and you end up working with them and not having a lot to show for it because of that. So we're looking for the clients who actually energize you and who you give to. And in the end, who are willing to pay you what you're worth. I mean, that's the exciting part, right? But if you find those right kind of clients, they're going to see the value that you bring, and they're going to be willing to pay you whatever you ask. So that's a little bit about ideal client that we'll talk about more in the future. But so once you have that clarity, that ideal client, then you can start the implementation phase. So I talk about branding in kind of 3 phases. First is the definition and the clarity and focus. Then it's the implementation phase. And implementation is kind of where you start, getting your hands dirty a little bit. So it's the creating phase. It's when you start creating that logo, because now you know what you are trying to communicate. Now it's time to translate that into a logo design, and making sure that you have somebody who can help you actually translate. I mean, it's a language. Visual communication is a language. So communicating using colors and style and images and everything else, every aspect of your logo should and can communicate something about your business. Now, you're not going to get everything in there. So I do want to warn you not to, expect to put every aspect of your business. It doesn't have to necessarily be a literal interpretation of your business or the work that you do, but it can absolutely and should absolutely give people feeling, an expression of what it would be like to work with you. Again, hello to everybody joining us live. Welcome. And hello to everybody joining us on replay. We're glad to have you. All right, so now that we've got that clarity and we've started to create, you start with the logo because that goes on everything. Everything flows from there. It defines your style. It defines your color palette. It defines so much. Then you can start getting into your business cards, your website, your social media profiles. Maybe it's a print brochure. Maybe there's sales sheets. Every company is going to need something different. So there is no prescribed or prescription that I can say you need A, B, C, and D. And I will never tell anybody that you have to have this, you have to have that, because it's so it's specialized depending on who you are and who you're serving. It's really about your client and what your client needs from you and what you need to communicate to the client. So we'd figure out what that needs, and that's what we start implementing. So once you have all those pieces created, then you get to the really exciting part, and the part that really makes such a difference. Many times when you think about branding, or anybody who's gone through the branding process, you get the logo and the business card and all your marketing material, like, yes, I'm done. All right, moving on to the next thing. But really, the part that gets overlooked is that brand integration. And you've heard me talk about it before. Brand integration is so critical because it takes your brand and makes sure that every experience that people have with you and your brand, including your team members and your digital presence and any other experience of your brand people have of you, is going to be what you want it to be. Sometimes branding and marketing can kind of seem like all smoke and mirrors. And in some ways it is. There is no fine, perfect science. I know there are people out there who do a lot of analytics and test things, and that's all very important. But the all right, so we're going to get right back on I don't even think that part was in my notes, so we're just going to keep on moving. But the brand integration is going to be, it's so easy to just think that you can stop once you have the materials, but making sure that that is integrated into everything. So what we would start looking, what I do with my clients is that we start looking at every point of interaction that you have with a prospect or client, and then defining how we want to experience your brand. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Can I go back? So we were talking about kind of the smoke and mirrors thing. Really, the crux of branding and eventually marketing is that you are telling people what to think of you. And as long as that aligns with what they experience with you, you're golden. It's when you have the experience that doesn't align with the expectation that you've set, that's when things go wrong. That's when you have the bad reviews. That's when you have people who aren't happy with your work. So taking what you have defined and what you're controlling and integrating that into every aspect of your business, that's brand integration. So you're looking at every point of interaction with your prospects or your clients, thinking about how they should experience your brand. And you can have a good enough, absolutely. But is it well done? Like, can you take those things to the next level? So looking at your marketing, what are all those marketing touch points from when they come to your website? What do they experience? To if you have, say, an email automation process, what do those email scripts look like? Do those align with your brand? What about, if you are, let's say, an example, so you're a bank, and a bank needs to be trustworthy and secure, but maybe this bank wants to have a little bit different, more of a personal bent. So any kind of emails that go out need to have that integrated. They need to exude that trust and security, but there also needs to be that little personal touch, so it feels a little bit different. Hi, Jenny. Hello, good to see you. Welcome. Thanks for joining us live. Glad to see you here. We're just talking about brand integration and the importance of taking the brand that you have defined, as I know you have, and we're weaving that into all of your operations and all of the touch points where people will interact with your brand. So we're talking about the marketing, and then even the lead generation. What are all those points? All your email scripts, all your how many times do they have to click through something to get to where they want to be? All of those things, you got to think about it from your client's perspective and making sure that, one, you're removing any obstacles, but two, that they're experiencing your brand the way you want them to experience it. What's your sales process like? Once they say, hey, I'm kind of interested, what is that process like? Are they experiencing your brand the way you want them to? Service delivery, as you're actually delivering your service and working with them, what's that experience like? Are there little touch points that you could put in there to make it even better? And then the follow-up. So if your service is the kind of thing that has kind of an end time, what's your follow-up look like? What's your wrap-up look like? How are you staying in touch with them even if they're not actively a client? All of those things are things that can really make a difference. If you've ever experienced a hotel, I hear a lot of good hotel examples, or Disney World is a classic example of great customer service. Nordstrom's has always been kind of the gold star of customer service. And this is about customer service very much. Think about that, to take the brand that you just defined and weave that into all of those pieces. And then systematizing that and putting into place the systems and the tools so that those things can be delivered consistently, predictably, and positively. Because at some point, if you're currently the only one doing all of this, you just are going to do it because you do it and it's in your mind and it's part of who you are and how you behave, which is great, which kind of sets the tone. But then once you start bringing team members in, how are they going to know what to do? How are they going to know how to deliver the exact same service and the exact same customer experience and brand integration consistently, predictably, and positively? Because there's going to be different people, and they're not going to do it as innately as you will, the same way. So you've got to be able to train them to do it your way. So having all of this information is going to help you hire a great team, because you can share this information and kind of hold it up as a measuring stick to make sure that your team members and that your prospective team members align with this brand and that they're going to be able to deliver on this brand for you. And then it will also help you, of course, vet your clients, because you know who are your best clients, who you best serve, and you'll be able to vet them that way and know if you're going to be able to help them. And if you're not, that it's okay to say, I'm not the best person to help you, let's find you somebody else, or I wish you the best of luck. So the brand integration, pardon me again, the brand integration is really where the rubber meets the road with brands and with small businesses. And for a small business, especially a solopreneur, oh my gosh, can you just imagine how much of a difference having systems and tools with brand integration in mind can make to a business? It's so easy, especially when you're a solo and you're wearing so many hats and you're just trying to get the business off the ground and make money and get clients. It's easy to just kind of go. And you're going to do it well. That's how you've had the success you've had. But if you could start thinking about how you do it and be more intentional about how you're doing it and stepping up what you're doing a little bit and then documenting that so that other people can do it too for you, oh my gosh, exponential impact on your business, which is pretty exciting. Hello again to everybody joining us live. Thanks for joining us live, and hello to everybody joining us on replay. I asked at the very beginning, what do you think of when I say the word branding? Like when you think of branding, what comes to mind for you? So I'd love for you to still answer that question. Now I've kind of talked about what that process looks like once you've decided to rebrand. And we've talked, at least when you're working with me, that's the process we take. We get through the discovery and the definition first, which can feel kind of like the tedious part, because there is so much digging in and introspection and thought that goes into it. But it's also the really exciting part, because that is where the brand gold is. Like, that's what's exciting that we're digging for. And when we hit it, I mean, eureka, you feel like the gold miners because you're digging for the gold that makes you and your business so special. So once you get that in the discovery and definition phase, then we move into the implementation phase, where we're actually creating and making the visual identity and the marketing collateral that you need. And then we get into the integration phase, and that's where we weave your brand into everything that happens with your prospects and clients. So if you, let's see, so much to talk about. So that's kind of the path to the rebrand. Truly, integration is going to be a business lifelong process. Even if you keep your complete definition intact for the rest of the life of your business, you keep your visual identity and your messaging even the same for the life of your business, integration is probably going to be a constant process. You get a lot of it done in the original, in the first chunk, in the first time frame, but it's going to take some time to kind of revisit and retweak and constantly be looking at how do we make this client experience better? How do we enrich this for our clients so that they have such a powerful experience with us, that we're their go-to, that they're referring us, that they love us, that they become the raving fans that we desire? So if you're wondering how this might look for you, I've set up several 30-minute slots where we can just have a chat. Let's just talk about what this might look like for you. If Lone Orange can help you, maybe not, but maybe if we can help you, I'd love to be able to find the best way that's going to help you take your business to where you want it to go. I've got several spots available. There is, in the description there's a link that says Let's Chat, and it's a link to our Let's Collaborate page. You can set up an appointment with one of those appointments. I've got several set up through next week, I believe. I got to get some more on the calendar, but I will do that today so that there's plenty of options for you. This call is complimentary, zero obligation. I'm not a hard sales kind of person, but if I can help you, I want to be able to help you. So it's just a chance to chat. Now, next week, I'm kind of excited because we're going on a little field trip with our Facebook Live. I'm not going to give it away too much, but there's some fun stuff happening for Lone Orange next week. It's my birthday, and yeah, so we're going to be doing a couple things, but we're going to go on a field trip. So we'll still be here Thursday, 9 a.m. Hopefully we'll be on time because there's going to be some logistics going on that we got to figure out, but join us. We'll be on a field trip, and I want you to come with me. So I'm excited about that. And in the meantime, there's a new blog post up that is called The Path to the Rebrand, and it's just kind of my process and what I went through to figure out story. Feel free to schedule an appointment with me. If you've got any questions, feel free to ask them here in the Facebook Live. If you've got any comments or questions, if you've got anything that you'd like to see us dive into a little bit more, let me know. Until next week, I look forward to seeing you then. Have a fantastic week. Thanks so much. Bye.